Welcome back to Blitz. I'm Brian Carter. Here on Blitz right now is Kevin Ellison, the senior star Wildcat quarterback for the Habersham Central Raiders. Also throws the ball a good deal. Kevin, we appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you.
Now, you had an incredible season to say the least, but most importantly, bottom line, your senior year, you make the state playoffs. Put that in your own words to be able to make that accomplishment.
Well, I feel like me as a senior making it to the playoffs has been a dream since I've been a freshman. See, I've been playing varsity since ninth grade, and that's always been my plans to get a team to the playoffs because I wanted to know what that experience was going to be like. So I figured this year I'd really show out and show up and get to the playoffs and carry my team to the playoffs, and that's what we did by hard work and preparation, and we were able to meet that goal successfully.
And you talk about show up and show out. You did just that. 2,183 yards rushing with 32 touchdowns, 1,025 through the air with 12 touchdowns there. You also had a punt return for a touchdown. Those are video game type numbers for you. And, your career numbers, just for those listening, 372 rushing yards, 63 touchdowns. You broke just about every school record there was, rushing yards, in a single season, in a career, touchdowns, and even the longest touchdown run. You had a 94-yarder this year. Just talk about how mind-boggling that is for you, even when you stop and look back at the career you've had.
I mean, I think this is probably my best year of football ever since I've started. I think it's because as a person, I've grown to be more mature and act the way I needed to act. And I think that came from leadership from my other peers, like my brothers, my parents, my friends, all coaches, all the above. And I just feel like just me playing harder and being a little bit more experienced and just working harder at everything I do, and I think that's just made me a better player.
How do you feel that you matured, as a player, maybe not just physically as far as the numbers that you put up, but, like mentally, the way you approach a game year to year, how do you feel like you've improved?
I feel like it all starts when one season's over. You got to start another season at workouts, conditioning, all that, and that's what I did. Every day, I was never at home really. I was always here, throwing, running, working out, and I feel like that was a big advantage because that's what I needed to do. I needed to get bigger, stronger, faster, and I feel like if I did that, I'd be successful too. That helped me a lot this year too because with all my friends, Kevin, come on, you got to come to workouts, even though I didn't want to sometimes. They were the ones that motivated me to come every day, and that's what I did.
Now, you guys seem like a pretty tight group, especially your senior class, but the whole team just seemed like they had pretty good chemistry. One game that really stands out in this season that I'm sure none of you will forget is a 34-7 lead that you had at the half at Cedar Shoals on the road. Seemed like a guaranteed win there going into the second half, and then they just stormed back and somehow won that game. But since that, you guys as a team rebounded and played great football the rest of the way and just about upset Heritage here at home as well, which was a huge game. Talk about how that Cedar Shoals game may or may not have kind of defined you guys as a Raider team.
That game was a big momentum changer for us. When we got up, I had 5 touchdowns the first half, and I kind of felt like at halftime we could kind of relax, run the clock out, so our Jays could play a little bit. But that was a big thing that we did. We relaxed, and we're not able to do that in the region that we're playing because it's so tough with all these other teams. Like you talked about Heritage is a very good football team, and we felt like if we practiced the way we wanted to beat Heritage, that we would have won that game. But I mean, there was a good football team, good kicker they had, and kicked the field goal to win the game. But I feel like the Cedar Shows game made us all grow up as a team, and that brought our bond a little bit closer together because it made us mature a lot more, like I've said in the past. And I just feel like after that 34-7 lead, after that we had Salem. We thought that we'd go ahead and release all that stress out on them, and that's what we did, and every other team that we played throughout the season.
Yeah, it was exciting to watch. Sometimes, though, a lot of the fans would leave without any fingernails left. I mean, it was just every game was so close and stressful watching it from a fan's perspective. I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on your perspective on that, especially you leading that offense out there. And, you'd have games where you'd have 4 or 5 touchdowns, and then, no knock on the defense because, as you said, Quad A is a very tough region and a lot of big offenses. And you guys are the highest scoring offense, one of the highest scoring in the state. And, how frustrating or stressful was that for you to be in game after game where you would score that many touchdowns and then, it seemed like the other team was just relentless?
I mean, I felt like our defense, they did all they could, and I would never be mad at them because I knew what they were up against, and I knew what we had to do to help them out. So I just felt like I told everybody that played offense, if the defense let somebody score, we're going to go back out, and then we're going to capitalize, and we're going to score too, just to show that we're not going to back down from anybody, and to show our defense that we really do love them, and they're going to do what they can to help us out too on the offensive side of the ball.
Is it the same for you when you're out there playing, though, as far as the stress level and getting worked up over the game? Because, I mean, I know you got to have a different mindset than a fan's perspective, you know, when you're on the edge of your seat. But as a player, what is that like when you're standing on the sidelines or when you're on the field and you're in those close situations?
It is kind of stressful. Defense gives up a big touchdown, and I kind of sometimes I hang my head. But then, like I said, one of my teammates come pick me up. Kevin, you got to lead us. And I felt like that it kind of made me a little bit emotional and just made me want to play a little bit harder, just knowing that our defense is going to give up so many points, but our offense is going to be able to come back and execute and do what we need to do to get a win.
Now, Kevin, obviously you're a very big standout player here in the state of Georgia, one of the best running the ball this year in all of Georgia for sure. You definitely have to have suitors lining up for you right now. Can you talk a little about who's maybe recruiting you and maybe if you have any kind of idea, indication of where you may be heading?
I have a couple of schools that recruit me: Georgia Southern, South Alabama, Air Force, and Georgia State, and Carson Newman. Those are just a couple of schools, and I've got offers from all those schools. And I ain't really been decided lately, but I've been sitting out with my family deciding, and I'm really considering Georgia Southern. That's probably at the top of the list, and the Air Force. But I really haven't really made a definite decision because I'm still deciding and waiting on see if other schools would like to talk to me. I'm just waiting on that recruiting process to keep developing.
Speaking of that recruiting process, first of all, Georgia Southern would be a great fit for a guy like you. And the quarterback right now, Jabo Shaw, he used to play down at Flower Branch, and he's going to be graduating this year. Do you have any indication from their point of view on playing time where it looks like if you decided to go somewhere like Georgia Southern, how quickly you'd be instilled into that system?
I think that just being experienced in offense, running it for 2 years, I'm kind of experienced and I know what I'm doing, but I know that if I was to go down there, I'm going to have to compete and work really hard to get a starting position if I want to start, because I know there's better athletes, and there's athletes that have been doing a lot longer than me, so I'd have to prepare a little bit harder than I have been to get that starting position.
Okay, and one other recruiting question that I've seen your name linked to Auburn. Is there any truth or anything to that?
It is. Auburn was probably my first school when this season started, because I went to a lot of Auburn camps, and they liked me a lot, and they stopped recruiting me a little bit, but hopefully they'll start recruiting me again, because I really love Auburn, the Cam Newton wise, and it's probably one of my favorite players, and after watching him, I felt like I wanted to really do that too and be big time like him. So that's still a dream. That's still in my books to go to Auburn, but whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, you could be the next Cam Newton. That'd be pretty awesome for you. Now, last question here. We'll kind of get away from the football a little bit. You talked a little about how you're never home pretty much. You're always out there trying to work out and get bigger, faster, stronger, and just be a better athlete. And basketball has definitely got to play a role in that. And you get done with your football season, and it's just straight to the basketball court. Talk about that transition.
I mean, it's actually a big transition because football shape is way different than basketball shape. I started basketball yesterday, and I feel like I was a little bit in shape, but then again, I wasn't. I was breathing a little hard. I had to go get a lot of water. But yeah, basketball is a fun sport for me too. It's just something for me to do, and it keeps me active because I don't want to get lazy and not be able to do anything. So I play basketball, and I'm pretty good at that too. But I have friends that they back me up. Kevin, come out play basketball. All right, I'll come. Even though basketball is just not like football. I don't really like going to everything, but in football, I really love to go to practices and work out and stuff. And basketball is just another thing that I do because I love to play it.
So football's where it's at, though, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so we can expect to see him at the next level. Kevin, thanks again for being on the show. It was amazing watching you play this year, just breaking off. It seemed like every game you had a couple 40 or more yard runs. But appreciate you being on the show, and congrats on a great season.
Thank you.
Now when we come back, we're going to have another interview for you and the Player of the Week coming up next.